Welcome to episode 115 of the I don't even know what word to use, reincarnated
Sure.
Valley Sports Talk. Yeah, welcome back. We haven't posted since October 11th of 2024. It is now, what's the date? January 8th? January
The
9th.
8th of Jan. Oh, it's the 9th. Jeez.
Wow. January 9th, 2025. Welcome back. Um, we took our usual break, even though it wasn't supposed to happen. It just sort of happened. But we're back. We have actually a decent amount to talk about considering obviously we've been MIA for 3.5 months.
Not bad.
Um, Playoffs, NFL playoffs start tomorrow if you're watching this right when it comes out on Friday the 10th. Um, and then as we were gone, all the Four Nations rosters that are happening in February came out. So our plan today is we are going to we're going to go through NFL playoffs, give our predictions, quick why, and then if we have time, we're going to go into our Four Nations face-off. With that being said, next week is our second annual Valley Sports Talk Hockey Tournament. Um, we are a bit more organized this year, as in Brandon's a bit more organized. So we don't have to, we're
You're
hoping to
doing
not
a
do
lot.
the clock as much as we did last year. So we're planning to make a lot of content during that weekend, whether it's mic'd up. I have an idea for TikToks and stuff like that, just sort of to have fun with the weekend. That's the whole point of it. It's supposed to be a fun weekend. Dance on Saturday night. Maybe not get much of that because it might not be very good, if you know what I mean. But other than
What I
that,
was trying to say is follow the socials.
yes, hit up our socials, TikTok, Instagram. We'll be posting throughout the weekend, and then even on our YouTube, following the week, probably the week after, I'll have I think it's gonna be a decent long video of the mic'd up, assuming I can get, people are comfortable being mic'd up, obviously, and
That's the
being
biggest thing,
on
yeah.
YouTube. I'm obviously gonna have to ask for permission, etc. But I'm planning to make a lot of content during that weekend as much as I can whenever we're not running around at the deeper arena. But yeah, let's get into the NFL playoff picture.
Yeah, let's do it. That was good. Good intro.
Thank you.
You right away, honestly, I'm used to like the monotone Noah, and you honestly sounded like a darts commentator. You went 115. I was like, what?
180.
But we do start off on Saturday, mid-afternoon game. We got the Chargers and the Texans, 4-5 matchup. Um, the Chargers were the 5 seed, but did have the better record. They will be the away team, and they are favored by 3 points. I think this is an interesting one because you have the Chargers who notoriously choke, whether that's in the final game of regular seasons in the past or just in the first round of the playoffs versus a Houston Texans team that everyone thought was going to be really good and kind of disappointed. So I'm kind of interested to see how this one turns out. Um, I personally really like the Chargers in this matchup. I think the new just having a Harbaugh behind the bench
Behind the
has
bench. This
really
ain't hockey. On the
well, you know what
sidelines.
I mean.
On the
Behind on the
sidelines.
sidelines has really changed this team. Um, their defense was okay this year, and their offense was also okay this year. I don't think it was anything special on either side, but it was good enough to be competitive in every game. Um, I know they did have like a top defense at the start of the year, but they were playing a bunch of bottom feeder teams, so it kind of evened out. But I like the Chargers. I kind of like the way they have Justin Herbert playing, where he's not super risky. It's kind of just a lot of safe plays, some big runs and stuff like that. Um, I don't know. I like the Chargers. Who do you like on this side?
Yeah. I think the Texans sort of got in here just sort of having that weak division. They got the Colts, who were sort of had questionable question marks at quarterback all year. The Titans obviously also have question marks at quarterback all year. And then the Jags, they never, I think the Jags had probably one of the more disappointing seasons in the whole NFL. Um, I don't remember if I had them as a playoff team coming into it. I don't think I did, but I didn't have them being as bad as they were.
Or the
Obviously,
Jags?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I had them like a fringe playoff team, like possibly getting in, but
I
obviously
think I had
injury
the Jags winning the division.
obviously injury to Trevor Lawrence, and I had big expectations for CJ Stroud this year. He was my MVP pick. Obviously, he did have a bit of a sophomore slump. I don't really think I can put all the blame on him. Like I don't think he wasn't like a bad quarterback where like but like based off the season he had last year, we expect him to be a lot better. Also big injuries to Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell and Nico Collins though for a bit of the year. So a bit of a
Yeah.
revolving door sort of at that wide receiver position. I thought Joe Mixon was great there. I thought their defense was good. Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter were both over 10 sacks. So I could totally see this Texans team pulling off this win um, at home. I am still going to lean towards the Chargers just because I am a bit more confident in their offense. Big seat rookie season out of Ladd McConkey.
Yeah.
The offensive line there is good. J.K. Dobbins looked good until he got hurt, but he is back. And they did just sign Zeke to the practice squad, so maybe
It's just, yeah.
playoff Zeke will come out. But I am going to take the Chargers. I just like sort of the way that they've sort of been steady all season, where the Texans have been a bit up and down. And yeah, I think the Chargers are going to come in here and I guess pull off an it's not an upset if they're favored, but like standings wise or um seeding wise, I guess it would be considered an upset.
I got a question for you because I'm just looking at it now, and this is actually shocking. How many interceptions do you think Justin Herbert threw this year?
Not many.
Not many,
I know
right?
he set like a record for consecutive passes without an interception thrown or something. I think definitely threw under five.
Yeah, he threw three
Yeah, I
all
think that
year
was
long.
the lowest in the. I think him and Lamar were the top two.
Yes, yeah, Lamar threw four.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of Lamar, we will go into our Saturday night game. We got the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Baltimore hosting this game. One of the bigger spreads in the first round. Actually, it is the biggest spread. Baltimore's favored by 9.5 points, which is kind of shocking considering they're divisional rivals. You would expect kind of a closer game just by that aspect. But I mean, we've kind of seen the Pittsburgh that we've seen in the last, like, I don't even know how many years, like six. They start off really hot and they crumble at the end of the season, but still squeak in,
Just based off their start.
and then normally get blown out in the first round of the playoffs. So I'm kind of expecting that to happen again. Um, it's pretty much like Russell Wilson and George Pickens. Um, so I mean, if you can shut down George Pickens, it's a good way to success for Baltimore. I think Baltimore just has too many weapons to worry about. Obviously, you got the running aspect of Lamar. You got Mark Andrews who lit it up at the back half of the season. Zay Flowers, is he going to be back?
No, he got ruled out about an hour ago.
Did he? Okay, so that's a big hit, obviously. But I still think with Lamar, Mark Andrews, and Derrick Henry, I think he can still make way of the Pittsburgh Steelers,
Yeah,
especially at
I
home.
think one really underrated part of the Ravens attack is Isaiah Likely. I like how they use
Oh
him.
yeah,
I know a lot of over the last few years, a lot of look has been on Mark Andrews, but I think Isaiah Likely sort of flown under that. And I actually think he's a really good tight end. Um, I am gonna take the Ravens. I just think the Steelers. Not that I don't think they're bad. Like, I think they deserve to be here. They're a good enough team. Their defense is good. Obviously, you know what you're getting from TJ Watt. Cam Hayward just keeps getting better with age, and Joey Porter's a great young corner. Obviously Minka's there. Like they have defense, but it's just their offense is so unpredictable. Like you never know if you're going to get a good Russell Wilson or a bad Russell Wilson. You never know if you're going to have George Pickens crying on the sidelines or if you're going to have George Pickens who actually locked in and wants to win a football game.
yeah.
One really underrated stat is Najee Harris is the first player ever to start a 4 years of his career with 1,000 yards, which I think is very impressive considering I think it sort of went under the radar a bit, and he's a bit of an underrated back.
Yeah, it's
Um,
funny because a lot of people look at him as not a great back.
yeah, but he's like he's the first player ever to have 4 consecutive seasons to start a career of 1,000 yards. So
Oh yeah.
just sort of an underwhelming stat, or not underwhelming, but just like an underlying stat there. Um, but yeah, I don't think the Steelers team will be any match for the Ravens, even with Zay Flowers out. I think Rashad Bateman will be fine in that number one role. And they have guys that can fill in the roster. And Lamar and his back-to-back MVPs, which he will get this year, or he should at least,
Yeah, I think
will
so
roll
too.
on.
I think he should too. So we go to Sunday. We got the 1 o'clock game. We got the Bills. We got the Broncos. I think this is going to be a very interesting matchup. Obviously, you're going into Bills Mafia territory, which is going to be hard, especially for a rookie in Bo Nix and a Broncos team that hasn't seen much uh, playoffs, yeah, like in terms of people that are on the roster, there's not much playoff experience on that roster. So going into Bills Mafia for your first one's going to be pretty difficult. I do like the Broncos defense though, so I do think this is going to be a bit of a closer game than maybe the spread suggests. I'm still going to be boring and pick Buffalo just because I think Josh Allen and them will figure it out and score enough points to win this game. But I do think it might be a lower scoring, closer game than a lot of people think.
Yeah, not enough good things to say about Bo Nix's rookie season. I was very high on him out of the draft, and I think he had a great rookie season. If it's not for someone we'll talk about in 2 games, Jaden Daniels, I think he would be the offensive rookie of the year.
Oh, for sure.
And just a great sort of setting that they have now in Broncos where they're finally playing competitive football after like the first time since they won the Super Bowl in 2014. Um, so good for them. But I do see the Bills winning. I do think that the Broncos could give a bit of a scare to the Bills, though. Like I wouldn't be shocked if going into halftime the Bills are down. They can't figure out this defense. Pat Surtain, who's probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year, gonna be obviously matched up with either a Shakir or a Amari Cooper, depending on how the Bills sort of line up. I will take the Bills, however, in this game. I just think that, like you said, playoff experience will be a big factor in this, considering the Broncos are such a young and inexperienced playoff team. So, yeah, give me the Bills.
For sure. And then we go into the afternoon game. We got a rematch of the week one matchup between
Brazil game.
Philly and Green Bay. Obviously in Philly as they were the 2 seed, Green Bay finishing as the 7 for back-to-back years. I think this is going to be a good game. I think it really depends on. It's so tough to pick this game. It's not even because Green Bay is my favorite team, but it's all Jalen Hurts. Like, one, is he going to play? I think he will. But two, if he plays, what's he playing like? Because he's been out for 2 weeks now. He just practiced today for the very first time. He has went out with a concussion. He's also got a bad left hand, which I don't think is his throwing hand, so I think he's all right there. Um, I mean, it's the game basically comes down to Jalen Hurts. I think if Jalen Hurts is healthy, I think Philly wins this game just because with Saquon, obviously, I think he's going to be able to run all over Green Bay's defense, which has improved, but still isn't the greatest on the rush. And then obviously that throwing attack with AJ Brown and Dallas Goedert, um, I think would be enough to beat Green Bay. Then saying if you go to a half Jalen Hurts or even go down to a Kenny Pickett, I think then I think Green Bay would be able to score enough points to win this game. I will say I think this is going to be a very high scoring game. I don't think Green Bay is going to be able to stop anything Philadelphia's got going if Hurts is playing. And I think just because of that, if Green Bay finds themselves down, they're going to be throwing a lot and they tend to do pretty well in that scenario. So I think it's going to be a high scoring game, but I do think the Eagles, barring anything with Jalen Hurts, I think the Eagles will take it.
I like how you're sort of a realistic fan.
You gotta be.
Um, yeah, it's crazy being in the what NFC North.
hmm
Like I feel so bad for you being the 7th seed as an 11-6 team. Like this should not be happening.
It's
Um,
just the way it goes.
yeah,
Ninth in the NFL, seventh
seventh in the
in the
in your
standings.
division or in your conference. Yeah, I'm unfortunately for you. I'm gonna go Eagles here too. I just don't like I know you just mentioned the Green Bay passing attack. I don't like the injury to Christian Watson. I know
Yeah,
he's
that's big.
always banged up. Jaden Reed's obviously a dog. Josh Jacobs had a great year. It just sort of scares me with the Eagles defense with their secondary, having Darius Slay. The rookie Cooper DeJean was great. Um, I am scared if the Packers do go down that they're not going to be able to get past this sort of the Eagles secondary. I know you did state that, if the Packers are passing, usually they are pretty good. Just the Eagles defense has question marks, but I do agree that the biggest question mark is, are we going to get a 100% healthy Jalen Hurts? If Kenny Pickett has to go at any point, I'm gonna immediately jump to the Packers. But I think that if Jalen Hurts is even 75% healthy, that this is going to be an Eagles win.
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunate. It'd be cool if they could get a seventh seed win 2 years in a row, but
That'd be cool.
against that division.
Yes.
Last year
Yes.
was Dallas. This year we'll see. Then we got the night game, which should be a pretty good game. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Washington Commanders again. Um, Baker Mayfield, one of the coolest stories in the NFL this year. A guy who got sat and traded by a two-win Carolina team is now leading a team to a division win, sadly for Noah. Um, but here we are against a rookie who's going to win the offensive rookie of the year. Led his team, Washington's, to a 12-5 record, which is the best record in their franchise in a very long time. Um, so yeah, it should end up being a pretty good game. It is in Tampa Bay. This is where I'm going to pick my first upset. I'm going to go Washington. Um, I just think for Tampa Bay, there's too much of a wild card. Like, I don't even know the word to use, but they could go out and score 40 points in this game, and they could also go out and score like six. Like they're so random week to week. And because of that, I'm gonna go Washington. I think they're pretty consistent. They will be able to put up points. And I've seen Tampa Bay play this year where they look like the best team in the NFL, and I've seen Tampa Bay play this year, and I'm like, how is this team above 500? And especially when you're just relying on people like Mike Evans, who again 1,000 yards, so congrats to that. But when you're basically relying on one man, I don't know how long that ship can ride for. So I'm gonna go Washington here.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna make one quick comment about the Falcons. It's crazy how you can go 5-1 in your division and still somehow not make the playoffs.
That's wild,
Don't
though.
ask me about it. But I'm gonna jump join you. I was planning to go Commanders before you made that decision. I know we're being boring and we're all picking the same
We're agreeing.
things, but I'm just too big of a Jaden Daniels fan
Yeah.
to go past him. Him and Terry over like the last 3 quarters of the season have looked amazing. Like I know Terry was like doing nothing in like the first like 3 games, but then once I think Jaden Daniels sort of got acclimated to the NFL, they just became a force.
Yep.
And I'm gonna take that Commanders defense over the Bucks defense. I just think there's more playmakers on that side of the ball. You got Bobby Wagner, who's like 35 and still up there and leading the league in tackles. They have a great D line, great edge rushers. So I am gonna guess be pulling upset on the Commanders at Bucks, and I hope to God that the Bucks lose.
Well, we got one game left Monday night to see if we agree on every pick, which would be uh, kind of ironic, but we'll see how it goes. We have the LA Rams and the Minnesota Vikings. I think this is potentially the best matchup of the playoffs, first round. I think it's just you got Matt Stafford, who's been reliable, he's been consistent his whole career, versus Minnesota, a team that nobody expected to be here. And not only did they get here, but they went 14-3. Another quarterback that was on a 2-15 Panthers team last year is now 14-3. Sam Darnold played unbelievable this year. It kind of just that Minnesota offense was really good all around with Justin Jefferson. Um, oh my God, what's his name? I'm blanking. Help me. Jordan Addison
Yes.
and Aaron Jones. All three of them had really good seasons. And then you go on the Rams side, they kind of squeaked in a little bit. I mean, they did go 10-7, but they had to battle the whole way. They started the season 1-5, I believe, because they were really injured. Both Puka and Cooper Kupp were both injured. Come back, ended up battling back, made the playoffs. Um, and because of that fact, I'm gonna go Minnesota. I think the Rams have been battling to make the playoffs all season long, starting 1-5. You're kind of in playoff mode all season long. I think they might be a little tired. Matt Stafford's getting older. I don't know. I feel like you know what I mean? Like a team that like has to battle the whole time. Sometimes they come flat in the playoffs. And I think that's what we might see here. I think Minnesota's offense is too good. I think the Rams are going to have to try and keep up. I don't know if they'll be able to. Regardless, I think this is going to be a really good game, but I'm going to go Minnesota.
Okay, it's gonna be one that we're gonna disagree
There
on
we go.
finally.
There we go.
I'm gonna go Rams. I said at the start of the year, and I think I said it like halfway through the year, I'm not sold on Mini, and I'm gonna stay not being sold on Mini.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
don't know. I honestly, it's one of those things where I don't have like anything to back it up with. It's
No,
just
it just
it's just that
happens.
it's just that gut feeling. You don't, you have Sam Darnold who's never sort of, I guess, done anything in his career up till now. He was signed just to be a bridge quarterback for JJ McCarthy. Obviously, we look at it where they are now. Sure, you got to give credit where credit's due. Their rookie was good. Jonathan Bernard is good. Their other edge rusher. But I'm gonna go with the experience on the other side with Stafford. I just think Stafford well, I think Sam Darnold is going to struggle in a playoff situation. We saw it sort of last week against Detroit in a battle for the number one seed. That
Yeah,
game felt like had playoff vibes to it.
for sure.
And we saw Sam Darnold struggle. So I'm gonna go with the guy that's, won a Super Bowl with this team before. I know you mentioned that they were 1-5. They could be tired. Um, I think they just honestly got off to a slow start and they've been playing good football since.
For
So
sure.
I'm gonna go Rams. So I guess there's the only one that we really disagreed on. So
I don't hate it.
we're gonna be really either we're all both gonna be wrong or one of us is gonna be right.
I was torn. I was like, I think that game's gonna could be the best game of the first round. Like,
I've just never and throughout the whole year was never really convinced with on Minnesota.
neither was I.
Even though they are 14-3, I was never really convinced.
Neither was I, and I've been wrong all season long. So I'm gonna jump ship, and then if they lose, it's they just I was wrong on them all season long. So
Fair enough.
there we go.
All right, let's quickly go through the NFL honors awards because we did talk about it quickly just so we can before we get off the football topic. Let's talk about our picks, who we think is going to win what award.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God, I gotta pull it up because I do not remember the. We're gonna do MVP last. So let's do rookies. The rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year, offensive.
Let's start with defensive.
Okay. Personally, I'm not 100% sure. We're doing rookie, right?
Yep.
It's boring because I think it's a runaway. And speaking of this, this is what might give Minnesota some problems. But Jared Verse on that Rams line has been so good.
Yeah.
He's fit right in. He's given that guy. I picked this guy to win Defensive Rookie of the Year at the beginning of the year. I remember. And so I'm happy. I think I was right on that one. But he's been so good. He's given the Rams life on the defensive side of the ball. He's like I don't know his exact sack number, but he got to a lot of quarterbacks. He got a lot of QB pressures. Even if he wasn't getting the sack, like quarterbacks had to make a lot of throwaways, a lot of checkdowns because of the pressure he was giving. So I think he's a big part of why the Rams are in the playoffs, and I think he's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I think we both said him, if I'm not mistaken, because I definitely remember if I didn't say it, you said it, or if you said it,
Yeah,
if I said it, you did.
yeah,
But
something.
I agree, it should go to him. I'm not gonna say he replaced Aaron Donald because that's a pretty big statement, but he did a pretty damn good job
Yeah,
subbing in for him since he did retire. I do want to give a shout out to Braden Fisk, is his teammate. Got drafted from Florida. Oh my God, what Florida.
I'm terrible with
God.
colleges, so
Oh my God, it's the Seminoles.
you want me to search it up?
Yeah, I can't believe it's blanking me. I think it's Florida State. Um, anyways, they just did a great job drafting them over there, both in LA. Let me know if you found it.
I don't know. I can't find it.
I think it's Florida State. Anyways, let's move on to comeback. I think this is a very easy award to give out this year. I know a lot of people are saying Sam Darnold, but I don't think Sam Darnold. What did Sam Darnold come back from being crap?
Florida
Um,
State.
Florida State. Okay, that's what I
Yeah,
thought.
he came back from just being bad.
So I'm gonna give it to the guy who I think would have won MVP if he was in the playoffs, which it's very unfortunate he's not. I think this award goes to Joe Burrow after the injury he had, and the season he had. Like I just said, I think he would should have been MVP if he was in the playoffs. Obviously, record is a big thing they look at, but I'm gonna give the comeback player to my guy Joey B.
Yeah, I don't know like who else. Do you know who else would be in contention for that? Because that's kind of where I was going as
A.K.
well.
Dobbins. You could give a guy
Yeah,
like
but
Tim
like,
Patrick. I know he was on the Lions, but he hadn't played a game in like 3 years based off injury.
yeah,
I mean,
but like,
you could you could just do like the Hamlin. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I mean that would. I'm kind of agreeing. I'm not gonna do any more
Yeah,
Joey B pump up. I
yeah,
think.
I agree.
I mean, he could easily be the MVP this year.
I
Just
think so too.
record
Um,
aside.
record and defense just sort of are screwing
Yeah,
him over.
yeah.
Coach of the year. I think it goes to either Dan Campbell or Kevin O'Connell. I know I just was talking about how I don't like the Vikings, but
Pick
I do
one.
want to give a quick shout out to my guy Dan Quinn, former Atlanta head coach in Washington. Did a great
Yeah,
job. Nobody thought that team was going to be a playoff team, especially in Jaden Daniels' first year. But I think the award goes to Dan Campbell or Kevin O'Connell.
pick one. Don't sit on the fence.
Okay, give me Dan Campbell just because he got the 1 seed.
You go Dan Campbell. I was gonna pick Dan Campbell too. It's definitely going to someone in the NFC North. Obviously you got Detroit, who's 15-2, tied for the best record in the NFL, and then Kevin O'Connell. I think it's going to go to Kevin O'Connell if I had to pick one, just because nobody at the start of the year thought this team was even a playoff team.
Fair enough.
Like I didn't even think they were going to finish 500 or above, and
Mhm.
they're 14-3.
I'll give
Uh,
it that.
so I'll go Kevin O'Connell for that
I'll
one.
give that. Yeah. Okay. Oh, rookie of the year. I said mine already.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
it
Jaden
should be
Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. Do want to give a shout out to Brock Bowers though. Also,
Yeah, I
and
feel
Bo
like a lot of people
Nix.
are talking about Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix, but Brock Bowers
Brock
needs to be.
Bowers has literally the only exciting thing about that Raiders team all year. Um, and then how about the rookie wide receiver class?
I
Insane.
know it's funny. Brock Bowers set the record for receptions by a rookie, and then Malik Neighbors beat that record. Did he not?
Mhm. Yeah. Bo
So
also
we had two rookies beat the reception rookie
Brian
record.
Thomas has to be up there. He
Yeah,
was
for
I think
sure.
third in receiving yards, and then Ladd
Todd
McConkey.
McConkey was great.
Bit of a down year, I guess disappointing year for Marvin Harrison, but he has the talent. I just think he has to figure it out down there in uh wherever it is. Arizona.
I feel like that's what happens when you have a rushing quarterback.
Fair enough. All right.
That's
Depoy of the year. I already said mine. I think it should be Patrick Surtain. I think he's the best corner in the league. He's the least targeted corner all year, which is a reason for that. And I don't think this should be very close. I think it is Pat Surtain.
I said this at the start of the year. I remember saying this, so I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go Mr. Watt.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, I picked him at the start of the year, and I'm just picking him now because I want to be right, and I'm hoping. There's obviously a lot of great options there. I feel like just the offense for Pittsburgh, which we were talking about a little bit earlier, was nothing special all year long. You had a lot of question marks, and the defense kept them in, and not even kept them in, won them a lot of games this year, and got them into the playoffs once again. And he's the leader of that defense. So give me Mr. Watt,
Yeah,
and
I
just
feel like he's one of those picks where I'd never be upset if he gets it just based off how many times he has doubled, how many sacks he has, stuff like that.
yeah.
Offensive player of the year. I think it's between two guys. I think one player will get it. I think it's either between Saquon or Jamar, considering Jamar did have the triple crown for wide receivers. But I personally would give it to Saquon. I just think he completely revitalized this Philly offense, even with Jalen Hurts being hurt and sort of AJ Brown and Devontae Smith having down years. But nothing against Jamar Chase. I just think it should go to Saquon. I think if he plays that last game too, he breaks the all-time season record,
I just searched up the odds for offensive player of the year, and what do you think Saquon's at?
like -2,000.
Negative 5,000.
Oh, geez.
Derrick Henry's in second at plus 2,000.
I don't. I think Jamar should easily be second. Maybe
Jamar's
Triple
third,
Crown.
25. He should be second. I mean, Triple Crown is, I mean, other than Cooper Cup, like it hasn't been done in a while. So that's a crazy
And
feat.
whenever he did get Triple Crown, Cooper Cup won the Offensive Player of the Year.
Oh, by a mile. He was the favorite by a
Yeah.
long. But
Nothing against Saquon. I
it
pick
no.
Saquon.
It is tough to beat like minus 5,000 odds. It's going to go to Saquon as it deserves to be. Second best rushing yards in a 16 game season.
18 again.
Probably would have been first if he played 17. But so yeah, it's a crazy season by Saquon. even like, and this is with the Russian quarterback, so it makes it even more impressive. So it's going
Yeah.
to go to Saquon. I agree with you. I think Jamar should be second over Henry, but I do think Henry should be top
Third.
three.
Yeah, 100. Those are the top three unanimously. And finally MVP. I said mine. I think it should go to Lamar Jackson
I
again.
agree.
I
His
think
stats are better.
if you
Stats are
ask me
better.
halfway through the year, sure, I give it to Josh Allen. Just this, what Lamar did the second half of the season. Stats are better. The only thing that Josh Allen has on him is record. It
It's
shouldn't be a
only one
record.
game difference.
Yeah,
One game
exactly.
difference.
One game difference. Stats are better. It should be Josh Allen's or Josh Allen. It should be Lamar Jackson's award to lose.
Yeah, I totally agree. But you know what? I'm just looking at the odds for this one now too. Josh Allen's minus 300, Lamar's 240.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It's basically between those two. Third is Saquon at 1800. So,
Yeah.
um, I honestly feel like this is why I hate the MVP award because it goes by record and it's the same in actually I feel like hockey does a good job in this. I don't think they take record into account. But the NBA definitely does as well. You have to be a good team to
To win the award.
win the MVP as well. Like Joe Burrow's at plus 2000 and he had an insane season. Like
You
he
could
led the
argue. You could argue he
passing.
had a better year than Josh Allen, quarterback wise.
He led the league in passing yards. He led the league in passing TDs. Um, like Josh Allen isn't top five in either of those two categories. I know Josh Allen runs the ball a lot more. Um,
Not than Lamar.
well, yeah, I know, but I'm talking about like Joe Burrow here.
Joe
He
Burrow.
runs the ball more than Joe Burrow, but I don't think Joe Burrow should be this far back. I think it's kind
No,
of crazy. She's
I
that far.
agree. Anyways, we have 7 minutes. Let's quickly go through the Team Canada Four Nations roster.
I just saw a post today. The top 10 Canadian
Saw this.
scorers.
Mike Johnston.
Yeah, the top 10 Canadian scorers since they came out with this roster, none of the top 10 are on this roster.
Agreed.
Which
Yeah.
I found pretty funny. It's kind of just some people take this probably took that and used it as motivation. I don't know about you. I do like the roster. The one person I am shocked at who's not here, who's having an unbelievable season. He's been good his whole career. Um, is Mark Scheifele.
I agree.
I don't know how Mark Scheifele doesn't get on this roster.
Here's
He's
a
my biggest snub.
here is I'm gonna go through the Four Nations quickly, and I want you to tell me who you'd rather prefer, Mark Scheifele or this player. You ready?
Yeah.
Mark Scheifele or Sam Bennett?
I think you do need a little bit of grittiness, so I'll pick Sam Bennett.
Okay, I would rather Mark Scheifele personally.
Well, like one for one, I obviously like Mark Scheifele better, but I think you do need what Sam Bennett
Yeah, but
brings.
I think they already have that in another player who I'm going to get to, or another two players I'm going to get to.
Okay, that's fair.
Um, uh, Anthony Cirelli.
Mark Scheifele
Me agreed. Sidney Crosby.
said
Yeah, fair. Brandon Hagel.
Mark Scheifele.
Mark Scheifele. I do think Hagel deserves to be on this team based off the year he's having, but I
He's been
still would
great.
rather have Mark
Yeah.
Scheifele. Seth Jarvis.
Mark Scheifele.
Agreed. Travis Konechny, who was the other player that I was said plays similar to Sam Bennett.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need a couple of them, so I'll pick
I'll
Connect.
pick Konechny too. I'll give you that. Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah,
Yeah, obviously. Brad Marchand.
yeah,
I'd rather have him. Mitch Marner. I think I'd rather have Marner.
yeah. Marner's a winger, so it's weird shit.
McDavid. I think I'd rather have McDavid.
Yeah,
Toss up though. Um, Braden Point.
I'm gonna take Point. Point's been really good this year.
I'm going to take Point as well. Sam Reinhart.
I'll take Sam Reinhart.
I agree. I think you need that one guy who can put the puck in the net at will. And Mark Stone.
I don't hate Mark Stone. He's really good defensively.
I
So
don't hate it either. I think I would still rather obviously Shifley, but
yeah,
I think that there's no like the only question mark on the forward for me, big question mark is Seth Jarvis. Not
yeah.
that I think he's
This
bad,
is
but
new this
just
year.
I think I'd rather have Tavares. I think I'd rather have Nick Suzuki. I think I'd rather have a guy like I don't even know who else I would have,
I'm
but
gonna
you
pull
know.
up his stats right now. Seth Jarvis has played 34 games, 11 goals, 18 assists, 29 points in 34 games.
Like it's not terrible. I know he's been hurt for a bit of the year. But the three guys I
Still under a
mentioned,
point a game player. And you have
Shifley, Tavares, and Suzuki guys I'd want over him. Even a guy like I don't even know who I'm trying to think of right now, but
Mark Scheifele has 48 points.
yeah.
Like, it's funny. 48 points
Defense.
in 42 games.
Who's like the one big defenseman that you think is left off this list?
Um, I don't know if this is who you're gonna say. Like I know, just being a Leafs guy, you could have made a case for Riley. I think all these guys are better than Riley personally, so I don't think it's huge. Why is there somebody I'm missing that
No, like there's no the only guy that came to my mind right away is Drew Doughty, but obviously he's been hurt.
is even going to be back in time?
He's I don't know exactly. That's why I don't. That's why he's the only guy.
I think they
Um,
did good for the defense.
the only guy that I wouldn't have taken is Sanheim. I think him and Parayko are very similar in play styles, being that they are going to be your shutdown guys. Um, so I think having two of them is honestly a bit of overkill. Um, the other guys I have no issues having on the team. Like I think you're going to be looking at a first line of it's going to be Devin Taves and Makar. It's going to be Morrissey and Parayko, and it's going to be Alex Pietrangelo and Shea Theodore with Sanheim being your healthy scratch. Um, but I would have liked to see maybe a younger guy. I know Sanheim is young, but even a guy like I don't know who's coming to my head right now, but like I wanted to see like maybe I see that's the thing. I guess I can't really make this argument if I can't think of one, but
There's
I
probably
would have liked
some.
I would have liked to see a younger guy that, is maybe only here to learn for experience for Italy in 2 years. Maybe someone that like I didn't think Sanheim was gonna be on this team, but maybe even someone that was like even more far-fetched than Sanheim, where Sanheim's been in the league for
Yeah,
a bit longer. Um,
that's fair.
yeah, if I think of a player, I will say it, but
You'll think of one. You'll.
um. And then goaltenders. I think obviously it's the worst position. I think a guy like Joey Daccord made more sense. Logan Thompson, than to someone like Montembeault who hasn't been that good as of late. I still think it's Bennington's net to lose, just based off the experience.
Yeah,
Um,
I think there was a lot better options
oh,
personally.
like a guy like Noah Dobson, I would have rather than
Oh,
Santa,
Noah Dawson's a good
or
shit.
even a Bouchard. Like I would have rathered them. Um, Thomas Harley is another one I might have considered.
Yeah.
Just somebody like that that's a bit younger, more offensive. You already have your shutdown guy in Parayko and Devin Taves. You don't need a third one that's just going to sit in the press box like Sanheim.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know. I personally don't like the goalies. I think obviously Jordan Bennington's played a lot for Team Canada in the past. That's probably why he got the nod, but his season just isn't that good. He's got a below 900 save percentage, less than 500 win percentage, like on a team that is 500, and he's below 500. So he hasn't been that good. Um, you named a lot of good people. That could have taken the net, like Decord and stuff like that. Logan Thomas, who's
Thompson.
Thompson, sorry, who's been really good. I just named a tight end. Who's been really good for Washington this year, and Washington's a top two team in the NHL right now.
Yeah.
Another guy, not even trying to sound like a homer. Stolars has been well, not arguably, he's been a top five goalie. He's hurt right now, but he will be back in time.
Yep.
Uh, so I feel like there is some option there that is better than Bennington. Um, I don't mind Montembeault as the third. I know, like you said, he hasn't been playing well, but the team's been playing well. Montreal as of late, and he is a younger guy, kind of like that what you were just saying about the defense. He's not going to play any games probably,
He
not
will get
any
that
games of
experience.
meaning anyways. So I think having a young guy like that to sit as your third goalie is not a